Hi guys, it's Brittany. So today's gonna be a dream time video, and I had this dream about 3 or 4 years ago. But before I get into the dream and what it's about, now you know the Disney movie Hercules. Well, I dreamt that there was going to be a sequel, and I know some of you may already say, well, there is a sequel. Now that is not a sequel. Actually, that is a prequel because as you can see in that movie is that those are the events that took place way before Hercules got older. Way before. Cuz that was him like just way before. It's kind of like how you see him when he was living with his adopted parents. It was around that. So that was actually a prequel, not so much of a sequel. Actually, not a sequel at all. But the point is that since that one I think believe is called Hercules Zero to Hero, yes, that is in fact a prequel. And those the movie actually takes place before, way before Hercules got older and before he was starting to fight, these, creatures, monster creatures. And way before he even met Meg and Hades, and way before he even fought Hades in the first movie. So it's way before that. But now in this dream, and here's the thing, because there was never actually a sequel of to continue with the story of events after what happened. So because there is never a sequel of a continuation of the events after what happened in the first movie, that's what my dream was about. Except, yes, so on with the dream so that way you'll know the dream that I had. So so in this dream, I dreamt there was going to be a sequel to Hercules. And of course, they were going, of course, and when they were going to make the sequel, that they were still going to do the traditional hand drawn animation, which I love that kind of animation, by the way. So, so I dreamt that not only was the movie been made and been done in the dream by in the dream there was still one thing that they needed to do, and that was to cast the actors for the characters. And of course, let's just say I only knew only one actor that was going to be coming back. But as far as anyone else, I did not know. But the only one actor I did know in the dream that was going to come back and reprise the role of one of the characters, and that was James Woods. Yes, in the dream, I saw him being the voice of Hades again. So now that was quite interesting to see, except the thing is, now as I'm seeing this in the dream, kind of like I'm behind a movie camera seeing this, at the same time, I see my friend and my sister, they both, um, they got to the recording studio. And that's the funny thing because yeah, I was seeing this so again, I'm seeing it kind of like through like a movie camera because I'm watching this happen, but I'm not there. Like I'm not there with them, but they're just there and I'm just watching it happen. So so yeah, I mean that was quite interesting because on the screen here, because yeah, there's a screen where it shows Hades and he's talking, but at the same time, I can see James Woods in the recording studio. Garbage disposal. But anyway, so yeah, I can actually see James Woods in the recording studio behind the speaker, and I can see him giving his best performance, voice performance to Hades. And of course, while seeing that in the dream, it was just really interesting to see that. And I'm pretty sure to see that in person could be just as very interesting as it were in a dream. But of course, even in the dream, it just felt real, kind of like if I was there seeing this happen. And so, yeah, that was just quite interesting. So, when my friend and my sister got there, they actually got to meet James Woods at the recording studio. And like I said, I wasn't there with them to meet him with them, but it's kind of like I was behind a movie camera just watching it happen, but I wasn't there, if you know what I mean. So, and the funny thing too is that when I'm seeing them talking, I can see that they were having a nice conversation, but I didn't hear anything that they were saying. And that was kind of frustrating because I'm like, okay, I can see they're having a nice chit chat, which I'm glad, but I don't hear what they're saying. Like, what are they talking about? You know? So of course, yeah, I didn't get to hear what they were talking about, but I'm like, okay, just as long as they're having a nice conversation, that's good. And so, my friend and my sister, they called me in the dream, and so they told me to meet them, I think, at Applebee's or Chili's. I'm not sure, or Red Robin. I don't know. But they just told me to meet at a certain restaurant. Because here's the thing, they knew that. I'm sorry, I kind of scratched on something. Sorry about that. But they knew. And the reason why they told me to meet them at a restaurant because um uh, they knew that James Woods was there and they knew I wanted to meet him. And as a matter of fact, James Woods is one of my favorite actors and I know that he retired, but still it's like I still love his acting and I love his some of his performances that I've seen in some of his movies. And I haven't seen all of his movies, but I am planning to see more because he is really a great actor. And considering that he did such a really great voice performance for Hades in the first movie, I can't imagine anybody else of that role because he's perfect for that role. So, and also, fun fact, that's also one of his favorite characters that he just loved doing. So, he would even come back and voice Hades, like I think in video games, and then there was a TV show of Hercules. So, I mean, that's even quite interesting to know that Hades is like one of his favorite characters to play, to give his performance to. So, yeah, that's quite interesting. Sorry about that, but that's okay. So anyway, so yeah, like I said, because he's one of my favorite actors and just love his acting and his performances and some of the movies I've seen and planning to see more. But anyway, so since they knew that I wanted to meet him, that's why they told me to meet them at a restaurant. But here's the thing. So of course I saw my friend and my sister, and they were talking, but I now, of course, I did saw James Woods, but he wasn't exactly with them. I think it was kind of like a bit further away. And of course, I did see him, and somehow, now, of course, now at this point, I was starting to feel nervous because I'm like, okay, wow, like because I never got to meet, any of my favorite actors in person. And because this was my first time to meet one of my favorite actors in person, you know. So to me, it just felt real. I'm like, okay. And the thing was, is that I was like, okay, what am I gonna say? Like, so of course, I just didn't know what I would say. I didn't know whether what we would end up talking about. I don't know. But and the thing is that before I could even got to meet him, to introduce myself to him in the dream. And before I could even say anything else, or anything else could happen, the dream was over and I woke up. So yeah, to be honest, when I woke up, I was confused and I was just like, wait a minute. So not only was there going to be a sequel to Hercules and that he was gonna come back and be the voice of Hades again, but that somehow in the dream it seemed like I was this close to meet him and to like talk to him. And so of course when I woke up I'm like, and with me I was like, that just felt so real, like how could that be a dream? So and yeah, here's my question too. And it's like I said, I know that James Woods did retire from acting. I know he did, but here's my question. If, let's say in the future, if there were to be a sequel to Hercules one day, and um let's say if there were to be a sequel to Hercules one day in the future, and let's say somehow in the sequel to the story, let's say somehow if there's ever a point where if they were to bring Hades back to the sequel, like if they were to, like, if that were to happen, would James Wood somehow come back again just to, um, you know, would he come back and be the voice of Hades at least for one last time? Would he? I mean, somehow I hope he would one day, if that were the possibility and if something like that were to happen. Now, I think in the near future, if there were to be a sequel to Hercules and if somehow Hades comes back, then yeah, I just hope that somehow James Woods would come back and reprise his role as Hades because I can't imagine anybody else being the voice of Hades other than James Woods because as you can see in the first movie of Hercules that when you watch it that there's just that James Woods just gives his best performance as Hades. And as you can tell that he put not just his best, but well, of course his best, but he put like a lot of energy and so much personality and to the character that I think nobody else could have done better other than him. So that's just my opinion. So yeah, that's my question. If there were ever a sequel in the near future, would he ever come back and be the voice of Hades, even for one last time? I'll just say this: I'm not sure if he would or wouldn't, but I'm just gonna say that I hope, because like I said, with his performance as Hades in the first movie, it's just so he gave it so much energy and he just brings the character to life with this like sarcasm and personality and even to give the character an edge, where the character is just so hot-headed, and he how to say he brought out the best. Yeah, he brought out the really best performance of that character. So my answer is I hope one day he would, if it were a possibility in the future. But that's all I have to say. And yeah, and of course that's also one of my favorite movies as well. And so yeah, and that's all the dream I had. And so to be honest, I never had a dream quite like it. I mean, it was quite interesting, very. But I hope you enjoy this video, and maybe for those of you who love the movie, um, let me know what you think of it, and yeah, leave a comment below. And so yeah, well, that's all I have to say. So Um, but yes, I'm gonna go now. So I hope you like this Dreamtime video, and yeah, leave a comment below on what you think. So that's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.